What do you do when you realize you've made a wrong hiring decision? So I'm going to be talking about this with an experience that I had because I've made a wrong hiring decision, and I did this as a consultant for a client maybe like 3, 4 years ago. So the interview went well, everything is going well, the person resumes, and then you realize this relationship is not going to work. Anyways, let me tell you what happened, especially for key roles. So we needed to employ an accountant. And of course, it's a manufacturing company. We had over 100 employees. So the accountant needed to be very good. Now, this man comes in for the interview. He has over, I think, about 25 years experience with manufacturing companies, with retail business. Like, his experience was top notch. Now, one of my saving graces in this experience was that the interview process, I have a friend who's an accountant who was there, and then the owner of the business, thank God, he was there. We asked him questions. He had the answers for everything. I mean, experience was just flowing left, right, and center. Everything we asked him, he seemed to have all the answers. We were very happy. The salary arrangement was good. We gave him accommodation, furnished accommodation. It was beautiful. And then the man resumed. 4 days into the work, we knew something was not right. We knew something was not right. I called him, my friend was on account. I said, okay, because I don't like, just hiring. But I said, I don't like wasting anybody's funds. I said, come and help me talk to this man. See where he's having issues. See where you can put him through, what you can help him develop, and just help him ensure that he can do his job successfully. So a friend of mine came in, put him through. He said, oh, don't worry, I've gotten it now. And I was still not performing. 3 weeks into the role, I knew I was going to fire him. Now, this is somebody who is very good with the law because he used to use subtle ways to throw in, you're having a question or something, they're going to throw in things around the labor law, wrong hire. They just need to throw in things like this in a very subtle manner. When you meet such employees, you have to tread carefully. So what I did was to schedule an evaluation 4 weeks into the job. 4 weeks into his resumption. So I had prepared the evaluation form and everything, and I sent it across to him 1 week before that 4th week. That's on the 3rd week I sent it to him. So I told him the date we were going to, have the evaluation. I said, okay. So the day of the evaluation, I got to work early. I collected the form that he had filled. This man had written plenty things. He now even spirit-guided it. Hey, I said, then we don't enter. So my friend who's also a professional accountant was also coming for that performance evaluation. So the 3 of us, we sat down to that performance review evaluation. We're asking the man, because now what happened when he resumed work? I think it was about in the 2nd week of his job. He sent me a memo. And in that memo, he said that he wanted us to employ 2 other assistant accountants to work with him. Now, what he did in that memo was to take his job description, because I sent him his offer. He accepted it before resumption. What he did was that he took the job description and divided the roles into for these 2 accountants. That's what he did. So when he sent in that memo, I declined it. So when we came to the performance review or the evaluation, he brought it up. He was opening documents. Every memo, he bring up this one. Madam, I sent you this. I did this. Look at this. This man was arguing that want to fire him wrongly. A very simple question my friend asked him, he said, were you given an offer before you resumed? He said, yes. The job description, the expectation, the deliverables, the KPI, were they inside the offer? Because I always send everything at once. He said, yes. Did you accept the offer before resumption? He said, yes. He said, because you have accepted the offer, because you accepted the offer, you are bound to do the job. If you knew you didn't have the capacity to handle what was given to you, you shouldn't have accepted the offer. That was what made him complete. That was practically what killed that whole thing. He couldn't say anything. So anyways, because I didn't want to, push him out too far, I was applying wisdom. We finished the review. We pointed out the areas where he needed to, to improve. We just explained everything that he needed to know. My friend put him through a couple of other things, and then we gave him 2 weeks. And that if after 2 weeks he had not improved and brought our books up to date, we're going to terminate his appointment. So I gave him a letter with reference to the performance evaluation carried out on so day. So I did the letter and attached to it, and then he left. I knew I was going to fire him. All those things I was just doing, I was working from answer to question. I knew I was going to get him up. I will not in such a way that there will be no problem, there will be no lawsuit, we won't have any issues with a disgruntled employee whatsoever. Of course, in 2 weeks time, he couldn't deliver, and that was how we fired him with immediate alacrity. Because I am that one person who will not tolerate an incompetent employee for more than 8 weeks. If you stretch me too much, 8 weeks. Other than that, you're out. I can't tolerate it. So that's one of my wrong hiring, and I learned from it. So, but what helps when you make a wrong hiring decision, especially for key roles, not for salespeople, key roles in your organization, always ensure that your JDs are on point. Ensure that your deliverables, your KPIs are on point, and ensure that they receive it in the offer letter and accept it before resumption. Once you do that, you have held them spellbound because they had an option to turn it down. I hope this helps. Have a lovely day and God bless you. Have you ever made a wrong hiring decision? If you have, tell us in the comment section.